Hello, and welcome to another episode of Real World Analytics, or What Schools Don't Teach You. This is another installment of my annual updates for 2020. Normally I do this with a coffee, but after 2020, I'm having a beer. First is some general updates I have for the channel itself. Secondly, I wrote a book. Third, I want to talk about 2020 as it was and some lessons I learned. And then finally, my plans going forward. So first of all, for the channel update itself, I got a green screen. I got some little lights. I have no idea how any of these things work. Apologies if I flash in and out during the presentation. I'm still learning. Secondly, I wrote a book. It's called Minimum Viable Mathematics. If you're a data scientist, this isn't really a book for you. The idea here is it's a list of topics and concepts that I would expect a manager or a client of mine to understand. And so by writing this, it hopefully gives me a kind of baseline level, a minimum viable level, if you will, between me and my clients, so that if we're talking about AI, ML, etc., that we at least have a common language. Previously, I'd said that I would focus on longer term content, such as lectures, and that's still the case. I've been doing that all this year, and I will say that the practice of having a channel, of just looking in a camera and talking with no feedback, is a skill that came in handy last year. That said, when I compare this experience to the full experience with people in front of you where you can watch their facial expressions, when you see what they understand, that's what I actually miss. There were a number of problems I had with respect to my internet dropping out, or video conferencing providers not working, or people being unable to register for my talks, etc. It was a pretty stressful year, and I'm looking forward to getting back to face-to-face presentations. As part of the problems I had, though, I had a bit of a realization, and in my Failures of Data Science talk, this is something that I want people to understand, is when you do something that doesn't work, try to figure out why it doesn't work, try to figure out what's important to you. In this case, people were having trouble registering for the event, and so when I posted it to YouTube, as I always do, it was better received than when I talk live. And it's a bit strange because I don't get anything for these talks. My YouTube channel isn't monetized. I'm not given a retainer or any kind of fee for giving a talk in person. It's actually better for me if people go to YouTube and watch talks rather than going to watch it without any kind of It's actually kind of odd because I don't get anything for this. My YouTube channel isn't monetized. I'm not paid for giving presentations. So when people were having trouble registering and instead they all came to YouTube, it actually turns out slightly better for me. I gained quite a few subscribers at that time. I'm at 92 now, I think. If I can get to 100, then I can get to a different level, shall we say, of YouTube channel. And by that I mean if I have 100, then I can get a channel name. I'm not just some random collection of letters and stuff. So if you like data science content, if you like what I do and want to see more, please consider subscribing to the channel. It will help get over one of these humps of many that I have, including how to use a green screen and lights. Going forward, there's a few plans. First off, I'm giving a talk for the data visualization group. A colleague and I are talking about data visualizations in R and Python. I'm going to be doing the R part. He'll be doing the Python. We're going to consider doing some live coding for prepping this. Now, I don't know how this will work either, but I'll probably get on YouTube live. And then the plan is when I'm preparing my talk and preparing the slides to do that, hopefully interactively with chat. As I said with YouTube live, we might use Twitch instead. If you have a preference between those, or if you have any experience with those two providers, with those two platforms, please let me know in the comments below. Also, I'm talking with another group of running a hackathon. Never run a hackathon before, and in our discussions, we want it to be different than your standard, okay, here's a data set, go minimize mean squared error, or some other Kaggle type of thing. We want it to be more realistic. We want it to be more of the non-technical aspects of running a project, which is my emphasis on this channel. And finally, I'm considering running a podcast, a kind of interview. There's lots of podcasts out there, but in my opinion, most of them are with industry leaders And when you're an industry leader and you have the say and you can push things through and have your way and get the ear of the CEO and investors and everything else, it's a very different experience than being the person on the ground at the coalface trying to get something done, being besieged with all kinds of requests, no matter how strange or technically implausible, which is part of why I wrote this book. And so the idea would be to talk to normal data scientists to get this more entry-level view as to what it's really like. And so the idea of combining my usual video content, the hackathon, the live coding, and perhaps a podcast, try to really pull together an introductory view of the realities of data science, which is my goal. So that's my conclusion for my 2020 year in review. It was rough. There were some times there when I definitely felt my mental health slipping. And I'll conclude this video by saying if you're in a similar position, please reach out to someone. I understand you might not know me, but please make sure you get help first and do the data science later. Thank you.